Hello guys, this is Technical. Welcome to Learning Ladder of C language. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about loop structures in C language. In C language, there are three types of loop control structures. First one is for loop control structure and while loop control structure and do while loop control structures. These loop control structures are used for the repeated execution of a block of statements with the particular condition. First, let's discuss about this for loop control structure. Let's discuss about for loop control structure. Here I'm given a syntax for this for loop control structure. In this for loop control structure, first we have to initialize a variable and then check the condition of the variable, and then we have to do an operation increment or decrement or modify the values. In the first step, the initialization. In this initialization, the variable should be assigned a value. Then this should be terminated. So we are giving a semicolon. So this initialization operation is done. Then the conditional condition part. Here we are going to check the condition that whether the variable is true or the condition is true or false for the particular variable value. And this operation is going to end with the semicolon, and then the third operation is modifying the value that in the variables by using the increment or decrement or modify the value with our arithmetic operations or any other operations. And then this floor braces, inside this floor braces we are going to declare a statements that we have to execute repeatedly until this condition is true. Now let's see the flow of execution of for loop structure in C language. When the C compiler knows that it's a for loop control structure, first it initializes the value to the variable, and then it checks the condition whether this value that in the variable is satisfies this condition or not, and if it is satisfied, then it start executing the statements. After it's executed the statements, it reaches the end of this floor braces, and then it go to this modification section and it do the operation that we are given in the modification section, whether increment or decrement or modify the values, and once again it checks in condition. If this condition is true by now, then it is going to execute the statement. After it reaching this end of this floor braces, then it is repeated the same sequence that it's going to modify the value, and then it's going to check the condition with this new value and it's going to execute if it's true. If it is false, then it's going to come out from this floor braces and it's going to execute the remaining program as we mentioned. So the initialization part will be ended by the first step itself. Once it is a value is initialized, then this initialization part is not going to be executed repeatedly. So only the condition part and this modification part will be executed repeatedly. Once it is reaches the end of the floor braces, first it's going to do a modulation, and then the modulated value will be checked for with this condition. After if condition true, it's going to execute. If not, then it's going to come out from this block of block. Now let's discuss with an example. First I am initializing that I is an integer variable, and then here I am assigning the value 0 to this I variable. So this 0 will be stored in the memory location at a particular memory address where this I variable is refers, and then I am declaring a condition whether this I is less than 5 or not. If it is less than 5, it's going to execute this printf statement and it's going to print Tendulkar in the output screen. After that I am doing an increment operator. So after incrementing, the new updated value will be checked with this condition statement. If it is true, then it's once again it's going to print Tendulkar. Let's say in output how many times the Tendulkar is going to be printed in the output screen. Here we are getting 5 times in the output screen. This is why, because first initialization the value is 0. So this 0 is checked with this 5. So obviously 0 is less than 5. So this printf statement is going to be executed. So first Tendulkar is getting into the output screen. So once it reaches the end of the floor braces, then once again it's going to initialize the value. So now 0 has become with an increment operator. So its value will be 1. So this updated 1 will check within 5 Obviously this one is also less than 5, so it's going to print 10 liter once again. After this printing the second time, so this value will be incremented. Now it's true 2, so this 2 is checked with 5, so it is also less than 5, so it's going to print until this condition 5 fails. This printf statement is going to be executed. At last, the once this value is 4, once we are getting the value is a 4 in this condition statement, so it's going to execute this printf statement, and it reaches the floor basis and it is incremented with 5. So now it's checking that 5 is less than 5, so it is false condition, so it's not going to execute, and it's going to terminate this block and it will come to the end of the program. So for this reason we are getting 5 times the 10 liter in the output screen. We have to be clear that what is the difference between less than and less than or equal to 5. So now I am compiling it. So now I am getting 6 times 10 liter in the output screen. This is because in the last iteration, if it is at the fourth printing statement, so we are going to get 5/5 10 liter in the output screen. So after it is incremented to 5, now it's checking with the condition. So 5 is less than or equal to 5. So it is true because 5 is equal to 5. So it's going to execute printf statement at the sixth iteration. So we are getting 6 10 liters in the output screen, and then it's going to uh, come out of this block and we ended the program. It is not mandatory that we have to declare a variable before the for loop. We can also declare a data type of a variable inside this for loop itself. So I'm going to execute this. I'm getting output without an error. So we can also initialize a variable data type within this for loop also. Now let's see what happens if suppose I'm declaring semicolon after this bracket of the for loop. So I'm going to compile this. I'm getting 10 liter at only one time in the output screen. This is why, because while the C compiler encodes this semicolon after this for loop, it reads that this for loop is going to end with this semicolon itself, though it has no block of statements. So this printf statement not going to related with this for loop. So this iteration is done within this line itself, and we are not declaring any printf statement in this for loop, so we are not getting any 10 liter repeatedly. So after executing this for loop 5 times, then the C compiler comes to this printf statement, and this is printed once, and then it's going to turn off the program. For our understanding purpose, whether this for loop is executed 5 times or not, I am going to print this I value at the end of this for loop. Now let's see output. We are getting 6 as a I value. This is why, because this for loop executed 6 times. So we are getting this I value is incremented by 6 times. So the value is the last return value from this for loop is 6. That's all about the working of for loop control structure. So in the next tutorial we'll see in deep about this for loop. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to get a next tutorial alert.